So many kids are using chatbots really to help with their schoolwork, to learn new things. They're curious about it in the social realm, but I think a lot of what they're most excited about is really much more tactical. And so I think the more we can keep kids in this informational realm, this realm of utility, and not in this social realm, which they're naturally going to be curious about, the more they'll be protected from them. So, really drawing bright lines. How do we help kids understand how to use these products and understand how not to use these products? As I mentioned before, it's really important that kids use these things as tools, not as things that, from our experience with social media, there are lots of ways that designers of these products are going to want people to use them more. And one way is to get them to be more human-like, to get them to be more intimate, rather than what kids are often coming to these products for. They're coming there to help with their schoolwork, to learn to speak French, to understand some math problem. So we want kids to be using them as tools, not to be being used by them so that they engage with them more. And so that's probably the first thing. And then I think that goes along with that is really giving them a sense of agency over these products. A lot of kids also worry about being overly reliant on them. What is their place in the workforce in a world where AI can answer these questions as well as they can? So really helping them understand that they're in control of their use of these products. If they get an answer they don't like, question that answer. If they get a response that they don't understand, that they can keep shaping that response until they really develop some mastery over the use of the product. We actually do some research at the Neely Center where people tell us about their experiences with AI. Some number of people report a lack of control and some people report a lot of control, but oftentimes their experiences are very similar. They both are getting some response that they don't agree with from the product. And the difference is really about what they do with after that. So some people take that response that they don't agree with and they feel kind of dejected and they kind of feel manipulated. Maybe the product is not serving their needs. Other people take that response and try and shape it. And so those people have much more better experiences with AI. And so just really helping teach kids that, they're in control of the product and having designers help them feel that sense of control, perhaps with scaffolding through the UI. So I don't think there's been a lot of imagination as far as how we can help people intentionally use these products, right? So people put these products in the world, they kind of see how people use them. They're kind of these blank slate products, and then the user is kind of driving the experience, and we're not trying to help them use it in any particular way. And so I think the more we understand about what users are trying to use these products to do, the more we can help them guide them along the use cases they have. So if a kid is attempting to use this product, trying to learn a particular thing, how can we help them understand how to shape their learning experience to understand, okay, I'm not understanding this part of the experience. I don't agree with this thing. I don't understand that as well as I could. How can I start to shape my outputs so that you feel in control of the product and not relying on the product? We ask people often, what are they most excited about with AI? And so people talk about getting things done more efficiently, getting things done quicker, being able to automate some of the routine tasks in their lives. I really am hopeful that we can have a world where people spend less time on the things that are less important to them and they can live a more purposeful existence. There's also an alternative world where people feel like AI replaces a lot of the things that they want to be doing in life. So I think it's up to us to design for the world that we want, and hopefully we can do that with intention as opposed to some of the mistakes we've made with other technologies. What unites us, it's really great to see a group of people who are thinking thoughtfully about technology. I think a lot of us have had the experience with social media where it kind of surprised us. We started using a product and we didn't really understand the resulting consequences and externalities of that product, and we don't want to live the same experience with AI. So it's actually very heartening to see in early days people starting to think intentionally about how we want to use this product. How do we want to use it as a tool as opposed to letting the business use cases drive our experiences of it? So I'd say the original sin of social media was that we had this idea that the more you use a product, the more valuable it is to you. So rather than thinking about what it is I came here for, we just assume that more is better. And I think you can see that somewhat in early days of AI. Some people assume that more discussions with an AI chatbot is better, deeper relationships with an AI chatbot is better. And I think we're starting to question that. And I think that's healthy. And I think we're trying to think intentionally, like, what is it we want to use these things for? What are things we don't want to use these things for? And how can we shape our environment? So I'm hopeful that as we think about this as designers who have had that experience with social media, that we can be more intentional about how we design these products and make sure to give people the purposeful, intentional experiences they want, serving their long-term interests rather than just getting to use these products more. Nobody is a objective judge of their own baby, right? Like we all think our kids are perfect, and we all think our babies are the cutest, and when people work on technology, I think if they were honest with themselves, they're not objective judges of all the good and the bad of those products. And so, just like people root for their sports teams, they're rooting for the technology products. I don't think that the people in Silicon Valley are any different. I think there's a reason why people in society have complaints about these products, and I think I think if people in Silicon Valley were honest with themselves, they would understand their own biases and that maybe they actually need that societal input in order to have balance.